Hello, Izabela Kozakiewicz. Welcome to Gdańsk, to Infoshare. With me, Allister Frost, Wild Orange Media. Hi.
Hello, nice to be here.
Allister, you had in the morning a speech about something what is a little bit different than pure technology and programming and the metaverse from the tech side.
That's right.
We see here a lot of startups, a lot of companies specialized in new technologies, but my question is more towards humans. So how do you observe from your experience from the last 20 years on how the tech world is changing, how our future will look like from the perspective of humans and tech cooperation?
I think the most interesting thing is humans don't change that much. We really don't evolve very quickly. Technology does. And events like Infoshare are fabulous because you get all of these smart, excited people thinking about technology, thinking about the next thing. And the reality is, for most companies, unless it makes sense to the ordinary person, the end person that benefits from it, whose problem it solves, it's pointless. It doesn't help at all. And I think my talk was a reminder that actually most people are quite detached from technology. It sort of happens to them. It's not a conscious choice that they make. And they need to be, if we're making solutions for them, we need to do it in a way that is accessible for them, that makes sense. And a lot of my time is spent with large corporations, and I was at Microsoft for many years, and I've worked in the tech industry. But most of the companies that I work with, they're just normal people getting on with their lives, and they're not connected to this world at all. And they don't want to be particularly, but they would rather have technology that's more accessible and easier for them to understand. So that's what fascinates me, the bit where technology and people collide, and doing that bit well, which I think is as important as doing the technology well, to be honest.
I've had a chance today to visit PKO Bank, one of the biggest Polish bank, presentation of PKO in regards to metaverse technologies and what they developed in the last 6 months, let's say. And my question is because we are talking about entering the metaverse, about what it will happen when the Gen Z generation, our age people generation, will enter metaverse in fintech, but in our technologies as well. How to prepare ourselves in our age, how to prepare our children, and how to prepare our adults to what is happening or will happen in the next 3 or 5 years.
Let's see. Well, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about a skill that I call a future-ready mindset, which is not something that you learn about in business school or in the textbooks. It's something that I think has become important. So I contrast, there are brilliant people in business, and you meet them, and I call them today ready, because they do all their emails, they turn up to the meetings, they're on time, they get everything done, they're amazing. But there's another category of person that does all of that, plus they're future ready. So they're looking to the future, they're looking for the next thing, they're curious, they're interested. And I've shared 5 steps to success, which I think if you follow those 5 steps and get into the habit of constantly exploring what could be next, but only considering those things that are relevant to what you do, to your purpose, then you may be able to enter the metaverse at some point ahead of other companies, for example. So I'm really excited when I hear a bank is thinking about the metaverse, but I'm also, 90% of me is kind of thinking, no one wants it yet. It's not ready, it's too early, but do your exploration, be ready for it, have ideas, start thinking, but don't try and bring the population onto something that they're not ready for yet, because it's probably too early.
So what do you think, when are we going to be ready from the mainstream? Because what is happening here right now and tomorrow, those are the people who are ready for the tech, ready for the metaverse. And But what do you think, from your perspective, when are we going to be ready from the mainstream perspective?
That's the impossible question, because I mean, if you look back at past technologies, it might be smartphones, for example. When were we ready for smartphones? Well, I worked at Microsoft. I had a smartphone before Apple invented the smartphone. I had a touch screen, I had all of that stuff, and no one else had it. You know, it was too early, the tech wasn't. And it took a company like Apple to make it accessible, to make it feel like it was something that we wanted to go for. And that's when smartphones really started to take off. But prior to that, you couldn't have predicted when smartphones would have become mainstream. And it's exactly the same with the metaverse. We can't say when that will happen. It will be when there is a player who does it in a way that is accessible enough to the mass market so that adoption begins and so that it becomes the norm. And from what I've seen so far, that could be a few years away yet. I've seen billions of dollars being poured into the metaverse. Yeah. But I personally haven't experienced something that makes me think that is a significant enhancement on life that I have today. I need that. And that may be a generational thing as well. I accept that I'm an old man now relative to a lot of people. But the truth is, we just don't know. It's who's going to do it in a way that will make sense to the people it serves, the people with the problem that it solves. And what problem does the metaverse solve?
So it's all about patience.
I don't think it's about patience. I think if you're doing stuff, if you're a bank, if you're a retail company, if you're any organization, you should be following technology and thinking about what is it that you do, and then paying attention to those areas that may be relevant for the future. And when you start sort of exploring them properly and being skeptical and asking the tough questions and not sort of, I call it shiny object syndrome, where people get very attached to an idea. Oh, we're going to do the metaverse, and everybody's very excited. And a few months later you ask, well, why did you do that? Did it succeed? And generally the answer is no. Why did you do it?
Do people like it?
No, we say, why did you do it? And they say, I'm not entirely sure. Why did we do it? And they just got excited. So the point at which it becomes right is when you've done your research, you've thought it through, and you time your entry into the market. There's no point just pushing technology onto people who are not ready for it. And we've learned this time and time again. There has been so many failures. The people who win are the ones that just do the right thing, and they actually solve a problem that people have.
Thank you a lot. 5 steps to success in a world of change.
Yes, exactly.
Allister Frost, Wild Orange Media. Thank you.
Thank you.